Hello. Welcome to another episode of the British Bears. We had a bit of an early bye week last week, and that was due to Jason, not me. So blame it. Yeah. But yeah, welcome to the show. And this show's it's called the British Bears, and it's a show that we cover the Chicago Bears and we give it a bit of a British accent as well. And the end sort of reason why we started this show is that we'd love to get some British Bears fans on to chat about the games and the season and chat about their fandom. So hopefully I've got a few people in the pipeline that might come on in the next couple of weeks, which would be really cool. But how are you, Jason? How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I've got a filthy hangover.
Really?
Yeah.
What you've been drinking on a school night?
School night, yeah. So yeah, it was a family day yesterday. A significant day for the family. Nothing positive, unfortunately, but well, it was yeah. But so met with my family, my sister and pops, and just had a few drinks to sort of celebrate something. But yeah, so yeah, I'll be feeling ropey all day, man. It's just I'm good. Talking Bears and a win always cheers me up. So we'll see how we go. But I'm good, mate. How about you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, good. I mean, I ain't had a drink or anything like that. Nothing interesting. Just plodding on, mate. But yeah, let's crack on with the show. And we always start off with the show with the offense. Let's talk about the offense, what we had against the Los Angeles Rams. I thought the offense was 100 times better than it has been over the last month. As you probably heard, Jason, that the player representatives on the offense had a little bit of a word in Coach Waldron's ear through last week. And obviously, Waldron's took heed to what they were saying. I don't really understand why that didn't come from the head coach, but that's another argument for maybe another day. But obviously, and also as well, like a weird story going about Waldron was scared around his own players about talking to him, which is really odd. Seems like he's been a coach for a while. So I've took that. I don't know if that's really true or what. But the offense just looked so much better. The running game looked a lot better. Swift finally got into a game. Caleb played within himself. He didn't turn the ball over. He played very controlled. And that touchdown pass to DJ Moore was an absolute fantastic pass. And I just think really that the chat they're finding their own identity. It was quite a balanced game plan. And it would have sort of, with the trouble we're having with the offensive line still, I think that was a really good performance, especially with Jenkins going down with an injury. So that we had to put our favourite Nate Davis back in as right guard and move Pryor to left guard. So, to say the offensive line being ropey, I think they had a pretty good game. So what were your feelings about the offense against the Rams, Jason?
Yeah, definitely much better, wasn't it? A complete game in many respects. Like you say, Swift got into the game. This is what we thought we were getting with him. So, from 1.8 yards a carry to averaging much, much more. He led the team in rushing and receiving. Which meant that Caleb was processing and using his check downs. He was using the guys in the flat. So he wasn't trying to force anything downfield. I think this is really, really positive. His improvement over the 4 games is so much more efficient. 73.9% completion rate this week. And like you say, more importantly, he didn't turn the ball over. They felt like it wasn't forcing too much. Can still improve with some of his longer passes still. A couple of them were thrown, although there were 2 of them. One of them was the DJ Moore down the sideline. DJ Moore, I kind of assumed he wasn't getting the ball and just sort of slowed down, hadn't he? And the other one was slightly iffy, potentially missed holding call. Roma Dunze was heading to the end zone, wasn't he? He got tugged around the waist by it wasn't called and he overthrew him. So I don't know if he would have got there anyway. But yeah, really, really pleased. I had seen, like we said earlier, I was away on holiday I've been away for a little bit, so I've missed some of the sort of news. But I did see that they called a meeting, and I've sort of checked into a couple of sort of podcasts. And I think I wrote a comment in, I think it was Nomad's show, that I said that actually hearing that they've called this meeting and said, there's something wrong, we need to sort it out. I think that's quite positive that they're going to do that. Just rather than just ignore it and just hope it gets better next week, they actually thought can't go on. So what are we going to do about it? So I'm pleased that they care about it that much that they'll get everyone together, like say senior players, call the coaches and say, you need to use this better. How can we sort this out? So, yeah, it was a bit of a worry, but Tevin going down was a bit of a shame. I think he's stayed today, isn't he? He's bruised ribs. But Pryor came in and, it started off at right guard, went to left, and they look really good. There's that the Swift's touchdown, the 36-yarder, was cracking. And I think Adam Mason, I saw him do a little all-22 breakdown and showed it from behind. And I thought at the time it was some really good work up front. Pryor took his man out of the way, and I think Jones and Shelton got to the second level, created the hole. Komet came across. He almost messed his block up, but he went low, but delayed him enough that he couldn't get to Swift, who hurdled the guy, and then he was off to the races. So that's what we like to see from him. That's what I've seen him do wherever he's been. It's just what I thought we were going to get with him. So, yeah, massively pleased. Caleb was spreading it around as well, so targeted most of the offensive players using his weapons. But most importantly, like you say, he wasn't trying to force it down the field. So that's why Swift saw so much of the ball in terms of passing. Targeted 7 times, I think, and caught them all for 90 odd yards, wasn't it? No, that was running 93. Yeah. But yeah. And incidentally, he's there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll save that. So I'll save that for a start. I got some stats again.
I'm relying on your stats because we have to fluff the show out with your stats. It gives us an hour's show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
so I'm always thinking, I hope Jason's got some stats, or we're only going to have a show for about half an hour. Two little quick things about the offenses. I was watching the quarterback school YouTube channel today, and he was going through Caleb's performance, and I think they're getting there, but there's definitely a distinct lack of cohesionship with him and DJ Moore, because like you mentioned earlier on, when they went flat, it touchdown pass, and DJ Moore wasn't really giving it all. And I watched. He went through the 22, and DJ Moore quit a lot of plays, man. Like he's blocking some of his routes. He just quit on his routes. I know, like he's been frustrated and stuff like that, but he's got to realize the situation we've got with Caleb and Caleb. Sorry, because I know what you like with that. And I just think like, all right, he got his touchdown, but I think he really needs to sort of change his attitude a little bit. I don't like Caleb on the sideline went to him and they went through, whatever, but it's just sometimes his mannerisms really sort of irks me a little bit. He's like the highest paid player ever in Chicago Bears history. And I just expect a little bit more, mature sort of way of handling yourself. Because obviously when you watch it on TV, it's hard to pick up what the receivers are doing downfield before the camera pans over. I mean, you ought to really see it in the all 22. And, the guy on the, I was quite startled by how sort of lacklustre he was sometimes in his play. And also another thing regarding the receivers, I don't know if you've heard this, Jason, is like, and I don't really get this at all, but apparently there's like a rumor that they're going to trade Keenan Allen to the Kansas City Chiefs, because apparently the Chiefs have got an injury on one of their wide receivers, and I just don't see that happening somehow. Like, why are the Bears going to do that? And I don't even think he's really that fit, Keenan Allen, because, I keep mentioning this quarterback school video, and Keenan Allen's so fucking slow, man, sometimes going on at his routes. And maybe that's down to the injury he's got with his heel. So, if I was like the Chiefs or wanted somebody to start straight away, then why would you want it? Why would you want to trade for him? I think people are thinking that we get a trade for him so we could get an offensive lineman, coming our way to help of our offensive line. But I just can't really see that. But I think Caleb just like you said, Jason. Every game now he's improving. His stats are improving. The cold plays where they're running more sort of intermediate length patterns. Sort of crosses and sort of 15 down and ins, which helps. And I just loved how he played very much in himself. He didn't try and do the hero ball. And he played just where we needed him to play that game. He didn't have to be always on him. We had Swift had a great performance. It was just nice to see him run the ball, wasn't it? I mean, especially when they brought in the centre to be a fullback near the goal line. Like Waldron were emphasising that. I've listened to the guys who are going to run the ball. So, it were a lot more offensive display than what we've had all year really. So I mean, is there anything more you'd like to bring in, Jason?
No, I agree. I was just about to. Yes, I'll go with Jim Smith first. That was it. There it goes. Thanks, Foster. This is exactly what you were saying. I was just wanting to respond to this comment by Squeegee, which is great. So he was excited to see Caleb talking about catching the Rams in certain coverage and changing to no huddle to keep on the field. You can tell he's mastering the offense, and I expect big things. Yeah, I have to agree. That's what I've noticed the most is, like you said, it's about efficiency. Knowing he hasn't got to get half the field every play. He's just taking his checkdowns, taking what that cliche about taking what the defense gives you. He was efficient and effective, and he looks like, as Squeegee says, he's running the offense and learning to respond to what the D is seeing on defense. He's learning how the NFL defenses work, which is brilliant. It's perfect progression, as Jim says there. Week by week growth, seeing progress. Absolutely, it's just brilliant. So pleased to see the difference he's making each week. Despite he's going to have growing pains. We know he's a rookie. It's difficult because. Here's my first stat for you. He is the first quarterback in the modern NFL era drafted number 1 to win both his first 2 home games. So no one's ever done it. That's how difficult it is to win games as a rookie quarterback. So it's great progression. They're making him succeed, and I love the changes they've made because, like you said about the way they were attacking the field, that's what I thought Waldron was going to bring to us. Because when I saw some of his tape from Seattle. He was always attacking all 3 levels. He was always trying to spread the defense, spread the field, and that wasn't really going on, was it? So it's good that he's starting to do that now. Maybe it's just taking him some time to adjust to the weapons he's got, but I don't know. Don't know what it is. It's a new system, new quarterback, lots of new pieces, and we're getting there. So,
but I'd say that I'd quickly say though, Jason. Sorry, mate. Is that the thing that annoys me about his coaching staff is that we've had the whole fucking training camp to sort this shit out. Do you know what I mean? We're like, when I heard about this players' meeting last week, I'm thinking, God, we're only on to the 4th game of the year. This usually happens sort of when you're 3/4 way through the season and you're like, I don't know, you've won 2 games out of 10 or something. But I think really Eberflus needs to sort of be a bit more hands-on manager regarding the offense because, I think he needs to be a bit more hands-on with the offense. But another thing I heard about regarding Waldron is that apparently when he was in Seattle, Pete Carroll, their head coach, actually said you need to run the ball more. And I think, he literally said you either run the ball more or you're out the door, sort of thing. So I mean, I think basically the players said, look, we need to run the ball more, man. And also they were saying that coach us harder. We want to be coached. We want to improve. So I don't understand all that, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not like he's a first-time OC. So I don't understand why he's been like that, unless it's, Seattle. I mean, it's not like English football where you can have a massive club like, say, Arsenal compared to Brighton or something like that. And, all the NFL clubs are massive out, so the pressure's still the same. So, I was slightly confused about that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think it's good that the players can go up to the coach and say that, and it's good that the coaches, being mature enough to take on what they were saying and actually put it into action rather than a lot of coaches are go, well, it's my way or no way, a bit like Nagy was, not like not calling players to the players' strengths and saying we gets this. I'm glad that's happened, and I'm just glad they've got a bit of momentum on offense now. And I still think the offensive line is absolutely terrible. They're still getting too much pressure at the middle in Caleb's face and all that sort of thing. But it would just satisfying, wasn't it? It would just satisfying seeing them run. Go on, Jess.
Speak to that. The pressure you were saying. I noticed that the Rams. That was season highs for them. Again, it's because what we expect is what we've seen in the first 3 games. That was the season high in terms of them, in terms of pressure rate and bringing blitzes. So 34.6% blitz and 50% pressure rate they got, which is still quite high. I did notice there were a few times that he managed to get a good clean pocket and was stood there for a while. But there was 50% pressure, which is not great still. But that's what teams are doing. They're bringing it because they've seen how we've not been able to deal with it so far this season. But what is really, what's the word? Positive. That's it. Go on, my brain. I've poisoned it with alcohol last night and vodka.
Over, Jason.
Oh, you broke up there, mate. I didn't get that. But yeah, so when under pressure, right? So Caleb's stats under pressure, he completed 8 out of 9 pass attempts for 75 yards and a touchdown, and his passer rating when under pressure was 124.5, which in week 4 of the NFL was the highest amongst any quarterback. Any quarterback under pressure, he got the highest passer rating. So he's learning to play against NFL defenses.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wanted to see less pressure on him for sure. And unfortunately, he didn't get hit quite so much this week. But we don't want him taking beatings like he did last week. No, it's good. It's good signs. I'm happy. But yeah, the general, I also just think I think the O-line isn't as bad as some people are saying, but they do need to sort a lot of stuff out. The penalties, like I'm going to talk about it later. But yeah, penalties, man. Yeah. Some things to work on, but we're moving in the right direction. It's a work in progress, but all good so far.
Yeah, I mean, especially the penalty. There were so many pre-snap penalties, weren't there? I think there were like 10 or something like that regarding some of the penalties. I mean, that call when he just false started. I mean, come on, man, that's just like a concentration. Come on, you're an NFL player, mate, and but yeah, I think the O-line. I think really the O-line is going to get worked on. Next off season, they've got to improve that O-line, especially the interior. It's like Braxton Jones. I think he's reached his ceiling. I just don't think he just doesn't seem to get low enough when he's going to block, so he's getting bull rushed. He's very sort of stood up straight when he's taking on a defensive end, so he's getting bull rushed. I mean, some of the footage I saw today. There were so many times where basically he got bull rushed right into Khalib's, back of Khalib's legs, basically, like happening more or less in every sort of pass play. So I think he's on thin ice really for next year. But yeah, it would just nicely balance the attack. And I know that the Rams had quite a few injuries on their defense and also on their offense as well, especially on their line. But I just thought the scheme made a lot more sense. As a former running back, I just like to see running backs do well anyway. But yeah, it would just nice to see Caleb sort of just be in charge and sort of look like they'd ask him not to do as much as well pre-snap. I could be watching the Colts game and we're not to do so much pre-snap, sort of doing check downs, whatever that. I just get thinking, surely he can just simplify it a little bit, just so he can get into some sort of rhythm. And I was also happy that he wanted shotgun 90% of the time as well, which is one of my big beefs because one of his strengths is his play action passes and his rollouts, and he needs to be on the centre to do them sort of plays. So I was really happy that they had him on the centre a lot more. Trying to think now what else about regarding the offense. Really, anything else you want to talk about the offense?
I think that's probably mostly it. Just I would like to see more rollouts, keep moving the pocket around more. That might give him more time in certain situations if he's getting so much pressure. But no, all in all, just good progress, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think with Caleb, he's obviously he's getting compared a lot to the kid in Washington who's having a bit of a breakout rookie year. But I'm not into all that shit, man.
No.
In the day, that's another team. Sometimes it happens, but. I just think people go, oh, well, the kid from Washington is throwing like this and that and they're scoring 40-plus points. Well, good for them, you know what I mean? But he's not our quarterback. Caleb is. And like you keep stressing, Jason, is that we're seeing a continual development and it's going in the right way. And that's the main thing. Do you know what I mean? He's not like playing like he was even 2 or 3 weeks ago at the start of the season. You can see a noticeable difference. So yeah, that were really good, man. That were really good. And that pass he made as well to DJ Moore over the Rams linebacker shoulder. That's such a hard pass, and I think that was probably one of the best passes of the whole day throughout the league, to be honest with you. The touch on that. I mean, I can remember watching the Colts game the week before. He threw that, I think like 47 yards to Roma. And it was such a sweet spiral, man. It was like one of the most best spirals I've ever seen. Probably last time I saw somebody throw a spiral like that was Doug Williams for the Washington Redskins in the Super Bowl, like Super Bowl 21 or 22, whatever it was, because that guy could really put a nice spiral on. All right, well, what we'll do then is we'll move on to the defense, man. Give me your thoughts about the defense.
They're just too good, aren't they? It was slightly disappointing with some of the larger plays. We gave it a few big passes, didn't we?
Yeah.
Stafford is a solid veteran, pro, isn't he? And he's going to find the holes in the zones. We play a lot of 4-3 zone, don't we? So there's always going to be gaps, and that's why we got the rangy players to close them. But it's still, when it's someone as experienced and good as he is, who incidentally, shout out to Stafford actually, as he's gone into the top 10 now in passing yards, past Eli Manning. Really? Career passing yards, he's now in the top 10 ever in the NFL. So that's the sort of pro he is. He's really experienced, good quality quarterback. So a few of those I didn't like too many of, but it was okay. We got some good pressure, not quite as much as before, but overall, sort of 3 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 3 pass deflections, and 6 quarterback hits. So reasonable. Like I say, we might have expected more as they were down a couple of starters on their offensive line, but we were making them speed up, I think, and that showed. So yeah, our defense is awesome. A couple of times again, considering we were like 2 years ago, we were number 1 run defense in the NFL, and we're down in the sort of 8th and 10th now, I think. So we need to kind of step up back to that sort of standard we set then. Sorry, put that comment in. Sweat was so happy to be blocked by a tight end and wide receiver on his sack. Yeah, I saw him. I saw the interview with him in the locker room, and he said he felt disrespected. He's like, "You're going to put a tight end on me?" He's like, so he felt disrespected by that. But yeah, as we went at it, he had a good game actually. Sweat, 2 tackles, a tackle for loss, a sack, a forced fumble, and he pass defended as well when he leapt up in the air and he closing Stafford down. Player of the game obviously was Brisker, outstanding. 12 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack and an interception. Only the second Bears player ever to get a sack and an interception in the same game, and the last one was Roquan Smith in 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that was probably his best game he played for the Bears, isn't it, really? For Brisker. I think that was the best game he's ever played, stat-wise and influence-wise.
Yeah. I know he was disappointed with the first interception he should have had, but he didn't re-establish himself in bounds, which is slightly annoying. But I guess the laws are the laws, aren't they? The rules are the rules. Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. From is that Foster doing those? Yeah, Bears were 17th against the run coming into the game. That's really bad, isn't it? Because considering where we were. But I think that's overall as a unit, though. I think that's what's happening is we've got enough talent across the board. Like one of them in particular, I think was a coverage sack, wasn't it? Where we just couldn't find anything downfield, and that's because of our elite back end on the defense. It's just brilliant. Massive shout out for Dexter again. He's having his breakout year. Collapse in the middle of that pocket all the time. 2 tackles, a tackle for loss, a sack, and 2 quarterback hits. Man, we're getting what we wanted to see out of him in his second year. Really, really pleased with that. So Sweat, Brisker, Dexter, they're all just our defense is awesome, isn't it? And it keeps us in games. I think it's the longest streak, isn't it? 21 points or fewer in the last 10 games, which is the longest streak of that nature in the NFL.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that, man. I knew there was going on stuff like that. I mean, another one of my personal favourites is Andrew Billings. Big cousin, we like to call him on the tailgate show on the Barrow Network. To my co-host, KB, it's his cousin, and I've spoken to him a few times as well, and he's such a top, nice guy. But he's having a Pro Bowl season, I think. Him and Dexter at middle just absolutely killing it, man. And I really see him getting to the Pro Bowl, Andrew Billings. I'm always cheering for him just due to that personal connection, but he's having an absolute fantastic season. And I think as well, the inclusion of the linebacker we got from the Seahawks, Taylor, he had a really good game, and especially like right at the end of the game where he absolutely hammered Stafford and he threw an interception, even though all the commentators going, "Oh no, that's head to head and it should be a penalty."
I know.
It was close because he was the contact was high, but I don't think it was sort of intentionally going, spearing or anything like that. But yeah, I mean the defense is on fire, man. That with our defense, you feel like they're going to take the ball away as well at any time as well. They must be up there. Do you know how well they are with turnovers in the league at all, Jason?
I'm not. No, I don't actually. I'll check that on for next week.
God. Jason, sat out.
I know they won the turnover battle this week, didn't they? So they two takeaways to 0.
Yeah.
We kept the ball well, but I don't know where they stand in terms of that. I know it must be pretty high in terms of interceptions because we're just getting loads, aren't we? Again, we're following on from last season, the back end of last season with that. So that's awesome. But yeah, the other good thing, the other really good stat for the defense was the Rams were in the red zone. They had 4 visits and only had 1 touchdown, and we got 2 turnovers. So that's what keeps us in the games. That's all you need to do. If your defense is holding them to 20 points or fewer all the time or regularly, it's just you got a chance, haven't you? And as our offense progresses, it becomes easier to win games when you got a defense holding them out. So really happy with the defense how it's performing. Just want it to keep going. Obviously, knock on wood for injuries, but that happens in football. So, but we got the next man up mentality in the same. Even with Booker is coming in and looking okay. Chris Williams, a D tackle, who's obviously rotating in too, is making a difference. I think we just got some good talent in that defense, and I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we were saying earlier on, Jason. I think as well with the defense, we've got a lot of depth, especially with the defensive backs. So hopefully, if a couple of people do get knocked up, that we've got the depth that that it's not going to be so much of a fall off in the talent. Who are replacing them. Just quickly say, Don Burr, fuck off, mate. Get into a fucking Lions chat. I'm not interested, mate, with your little trolling, with your little Lions fucking mates. You haven't won anything since 1958, and you still haven't won the Super Bowl yet. So go away and irritate somebody else, mate, because I ain't into all that shit. So fuck off. But also as well, I think one of the greater things was the punter. Who would ever think about the punter? I mean, I don't think I've seen punts like that ever in my life. I mean, it would have
just had to laugh, man. You're killing me.
I mean, I've never seen him put a boot one for 63 yards, but the thing is, though, it's how he gets spin back. So it'll hit the floor, and then it'll just come back, so it don't go into the end zone. He did like that other one where it just spun, and it just spun like within the 10 yards of our end zone, ping straight out. So. Maybe it wasn't a wasted 4th round taking that punter, because he did make a massive difference in the second half of that game. He really sort of put them on their back heel.
Got you for that. I got you covered for that one, mate. Here's one. I was going to say, we said before when we picked him up, we were starting to talk about it and said, field position matters, so he'll make a difference, and he absolutely will. And so the reason it does matter is because the average starting position for the offenses, right? The Bears was their own 41-yard line. The Rams was their own 22. That's their average starting position. That's the average starting position they had with the ball. So he had 3 punts inside the 10, 5, 8, and 9-yard line. That one at the end, 66-yarder, hit and bounced out. The guy can just place the ball and just, someone was saying, weren't they, about he's got so many clubs in his bag. He can back spin, he can side spin, he can just make it land the right way. But I love the way the commentators reacted to it, and everyone does, because it's incredible, isn't it? I've never seen anything like it. What a leg! And it's not just about the power; it's the way he delivers the ball. Like I say, it's the spin, it's the back spin, it's the side spin, the way he can place the ball, and it makes a massive difference, a huge difference. You're talking about they've got to go an average of 78 yards every time to reach the end zone, because he's spinning them back.
Well, and against our great defense as well.
Exactly.
So you see the logic behind the draft pick now, and that Sunday's game really illustrated that point. It would just he probably, man. I mean, I'm not saying the punter won the game for us, but it was definitely a big percentage of that. But then, them 2 kicks near the end of the game, and I'm still not particularly. I don't think this dynamic kickoff thing's going to last, because have you noticed that all the teams now just boot into the end zone and just let him, because I know they're starting the 30-yard line now. So a lot of teams seem to be quite happy, thinking, well, it's only an extra 5 yards compared to what it used to anyway. So why bother? So I mean, I'm not really seeing the joy of this dynamic kickoff. I think they'll probably go back to what it used to be like, maybe next year or whatever. But
mate, I reckon on that score they might leave it if they see it's reducing injuries, which is one of the main reasons as well. Then I think they'll probably leave it as it is, because, like I say, there was only 1 kick run out, wasn't there, for us? So I do think if it keeps injuries down, then they'll keep it as it is. But it's not. I don't know. I haven't seen any. I haven't looked into the stats in terms of how many runs are starting position. I think they're happy to take it from the 30, aren't they? So.
I mean, I don't really recall anybody having a kickoff return for a touchdown this year.
There's been one. I think. Yeah.
Right.
And we took one for 67 yards, didn't we? So there's been a couple of decent ones, but I think people are just happy to just take that extra 5 yards and just put it out the back of the end zone, aren't they? So, yeah.
So overall, it sounds like we're both very happy with that performance. And it's that time of show, and I know it's one of your favourite parts of the show, Jason, that we do the Jason Stat Bomb.
Is Foster on it?
Come on, Foster, old boy.
There we go. I did it. I don't know if I beat you to it there, Foster, but I just, I'll drive. So there's actually quite a lot. I've got to have a shout out to Larry May, the senior Bears writer. On the website. I think he's seen like this little segment and likes it. He realizes how much people love it, and he's starting to steal my thunder. I'm gonna have to have words with him. I'm in Chicago in December. He's now doing this thing called By the Numbers, and he's getting some great stats in here. So shout out to him for stealing my little game.
But are you stealing his stats back now, Jason? Is this how it's going?
I am. I'm going to use them against him. Yeah. So he puts them out there. I've credited him. I've credited my source, Larry May. There's a few good ones, actually. One of them is that the Bears have now won 7 consecutive home games, which is the longest active streak in the NFL. And in that time, they've held the opposition to 17 points or fewer. And again, talking about a defense, that's going to give you a chance to win any game, isn't it? So, yeah, that's the longest active streak in home wins. Where are we again? See, I've got to scroll now. 16. There we go. 16 is a number. That is the number of players we've had. You talked about him earlier, DJ Moore. He's now one of only 16 players that have caught a touchdown pass from 3 different quarterbacks that were drafted number 1 in the draft. So he obviously got one from Caleb Williams at the weekend.
That's a deep stat, that is, Jason.
It just, that's Larry again. But that's, so he caught, obviously, when he was at Carolina, he got one from Cam Newton and some Baker Mayfield have also picked number 1. So that's, there's only 16 players in the NFL that have ever caught a touchdown pass from 3 different number 1 pick quarterbacks.
Wow.
DJ is one of them. Excellent, thank you. Yeah, I've mentioned Jaquan Brisker already. It was 2022, apparently, Roquan Smith got the interception and a sack. So that's the only 2 Bears players. Double-digit tackles, 1 sack and 1 interception it is. Sorry, so I missed out the tackles. 55.4 was Torrey Taylor's average, that's right, and his punts. It's the 3rd highest in the game by a Bears player since at least 1960 with a minimum of 4 punts. Wow. 3 of them inside the... I was doing it every time now. I had another one here before.
Foster.
He's just playing with us now. And yes, it's so 36-yard touchdown for Swift. That's our longest touchdown run since Velus Jones Jr. ran in a 42-yarder against Minnesota in 2022.
Wow.
You're getting it every time now. Right. I told you that. It was yards from scrimmage by DeAndre Swift, 165. He's the first Bears player to get over 70 yards of receiving and rushing in the same game since Jeremy Langford in 2015, which was also against the Rams, but the St. Louis Rams. Wow. Jeremy Langford. Who?
Who? Exactly. As soon as you said the name, I was like, can't remember that dude.
Well, he had a good game once, that's for sure. And the other thing is, there's one other thing which I wanted to mention is that is our slow starts on offense. We're so far in 4 weeks in, we've only scored 3 points in the first quarter at all in any game. In all games, it's 3 points in the first quarter. So we're taking our time to get the offense rolling, but as long as we keep making adjustments and keep improving, I'm not going to get too worried about that. No. And then finally, 14.5 sacks by Montez Sweat since the start of the 2023 season. It's the 4th most amongst all NFC players. So, and I think that might be all of them. I mentioned, I said about Caleb under pressure was the number 1 quarterback in the NFL this week with a rating of 124.5. And big shout out to Mercedes Lewis. 272 NFL games. He's now played more games at that position, at the tight end position than any other player in NFL history. So big shout out to Big Dog. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen his little speech in the locker room.
Sure, we're going to have words, Foster. We're going to have words if this carries on. All right, old boy? But yeah, I know what you were going to say. I did see him in the locker room when he got given the game ball, and that was such a great speech he gave as well. Very sort of from the heart, very intellectual, very sort of team bonding. He's been there, seen it, done it. So really sort of pleased with the speech he gave, and I think he was definitely one of the guys that went to see Waldron through the week. Regarding the offensive scheme and all that sort of thing. So, well, let's move on to the next game. The Carolina Panthers. Have you got one more?
Mate, before you do, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the chat, everyone who's joined us. Thanks for being there. Patty Lara, Shorty's obviously here. He must be on his lunch break or something at work. Squeegee is in here. King Booker World, good to see you, mate. Salute to you. Patty Lara, Jim Foster. Okay, that's another. Is that you, Foster, or is that your friend? Is that your alter ego? I think that's everyone that's been in the chat, apart from obviously our friend from Detroit. So I don't see him on mine because I blocked him, obviously. Because why wouldn't you? I blocked him. I use Dan's account to join this show here. He pops up in the chat. But the thing you got to remember is that there's no point engaging, right? Because trying to engage with him in any kind of chat it's like trying to play chess with a pigeon. Yeah. Basically, he's got no idea what's going on, and eventually he's just going to shit all over the board and strut around like he won anyway. So just don't bother. Don't bother.
No, I mean, the thing is, I've had about 3 years of Don Burr, because I've been doing podcasts for 3 years. He tried it on Sunday on the Barfly Tailgate show. And basically, I just said the same thing. Go fuck yourself. I'm not interested. You're boring. I don't get you. I don't understand why you want to go into bed. You know what I mean? I don't even want. Let's say we'll continue. Right, time out.
Don't waste the oxygen. Don't waste the oxygen on him. Oh, so what he's saying, he's not having lunch. He's getting back from being in Chicago for a month.
Detroit sucks and Don Burr's a wanker. That's all we have to say. So let's move on to the Carolina Panthers, man.
Yes, right.
They're 1-3. They lost against the Bengals on Sunday. They benched their prized first round pick of last year. Bryce Young? Yeah, Bryce Young. And they got the ginger, Red Rocket, whatever it's called, Dalton, our quarterback. The ginger minge, I don't know.
Oh, no need. Not dodgy stomach.
No, you your hangover. But what are your thoughts about the opponents that will come up this week, mate?
Right, so like you say, they lost to the Panthers last week. They benched Bryce Young, the number one pick. And I think I say Panthers, I meant Bengals, obviously. They lost to the Bengals, yeah. I'm almost starting to feel a bit of pity for them, which is terrible, isn't it? That's not what you want as an NFL fan. You don't want pity from people. But having fleeced them with the biggest trade of the century, they're now they're just terrible, aren't they? So it bodes well for our second round pick in the coming draft. What have they done? So we were mentioning pre-show, weren't we? We talked to Foster about their running back they drafted who's injured, Brooks.
Yeah.
But they actually did a bit all right on the ground last week against the Bengals, 155 yards rushing, average of 5.3. And Chuba Hubbard is the guy they got carrying the rock at the minute. And he had 18 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown last week. He's their main threat. Obviously, Dalton is an experienced pro quarterback, so it's not prone to probably some of the same mistakes that we've seen from some of the guys who played so far, like at Tennessee, like Will Levis and Richardson for the Colts, and maybe Bryce Young would have been doing as well. So he's going to be slightly sort of more efficient, I'd expect. He was 25 of 40 attempts, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So he had a couple of good drives, so he can run a game. He can run a game reasonably. They're not too bad. They're not, in terms of their performance, they've given up the most points in the NFL this season. Their defense, it's terrible. They got rid of, was it Brian Burns, their edge rusher, their sort of prized asset?
Yeah. I think they've got a few injuries as well, but it's like everybody's got injuries.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we can't talk about that, can we? But he did. I tell you what he did. What I saw as an opportunity is that Andy Dalton had 8 passes defended in that game. So he's obviously not doing brilliantly keeping the ball out of danger. So with our ball hawks and our secondary, if he's putting the ball where a defender has a chance of getting his hands on it, then we're a shout at getting some picks. So that's something to be looking out for. They They've only had 5 sacks all season and 13 tackles for loss, so they're up front defensively. They're not particularly strong. There were 0 sacks in the game, the last game, the Bengals game, and there was no sacks on either side. So that was the defenses didn't do great there, but they didn't really produce any huge amount of yardage. So they're giving up 358 yards a game, which is 28th in the NFL in terms of their defense, and their offense is 23rd in passing and 24th in running yards at 291 total offense. So they're not great. So you would hope for a win at home in our place. They've scored 25. They're 25th in points per game, 18.3. So if our defense can keep performing and keep them below average, then they're only going to get like 10, 12 points potentially. Their kicker is obviously someone we'll know very well. It's Eddie Pinheiro, former Bears kicker. He was 100% last weekend, got 3 extra points and a field goal of 48 yards. So he's used to kicking field goals in Chicago, but obviously not quite as good as Cairo. The injury report I haven't seen yet, but yeah, they had 2 of their linebackers left the game and didn't return. One of them is out for the season already. So yeah, they've got quite a few injuries. Essentially, they're all round kind of bad with nothing. There are no star players really, apart from, let's say, Chuba Hubbard's doing okay on the ground. So yeah, pretty average team to be fair. We've got to have a chance of this one, haven't we? It's got to be an Amazon home win. Yeah,
we have. So we have definitely
not the most points. And
I just wanted to pop in and let you guys know, because you guys were just talking about the injury report. You don't know what it is for them. So quick update: Adam Thielen, their big receiver, he's out.
That's right, he's out.
Shaq Thompson, the linebacker, he's doubtful. They have 3 other starters, 3 on defense and 1 on offense that are doubtful. They're missing their starting right defensive end, but Jadeveon Clowney and Chris Harris are the 2 pass rushers that we got to be concerned with. So they do, just so that you know, they do have some weapons, and their rankings offensively and defensively over the last 2 weeks have slowly climbed up higher than they're not in the 20s or 30 anymore. I mean, they're not in the upper 20s or 30s. I think I saw one ranking where they were ranked 17th or 18th on defense, which
19th in
passing. That's middle of the pack. Just I didn't mean to cut in, but I wanted to give everybody that information.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool.
And then quickly on offense, because we don't think of it, but since they replaced Andy Dalton, Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders have been very effective carrying the ball. People forget that they got 2 pretty good wide receivers in Deontay Johnson and Xavier Leggett. And then Tommy Tremble's their starting tight end. The other thing is their left guard the starting left guard, Damian Lewis, might be out this week. He's questionable too. So even though they are coming up a little bit, at least we're going to be fortunate enough to have them missing a few of their key players anyways, because it doesn't matter. It's still an NFL team, man. And we know on any given Sunday, crap can happen.
Yeah, that's why we watch it, mate. That's why we watch it. And I think as well, like, their entire organisation seems to be in a complete bit of a mess. I think their owner sort of pissed a lot of people off how he's running the show and stuff like that. So hopefully, I'm definitely putting this down as a home win. And also as well, it's going to help us with that draft pick as well, what we got from them as well. Like you say, from the deal of the century so far, that we absolutely fleeced them basically. So the dreaded question: score predictions. Have you got a score prediction, or I mean, we're both going for the Bears win. That's I feel quite comfortable with that. And I'll give you my score. I think the Bears offense is slowly finding their feet, and I just got a feeling that I might really turn it on Sunday. So I'm thinking like maybe 28-10 to the Bears, something around that mark. I just want to see the offense keep improving like they have been doing, and Caleb to see him keep improving like he's doing. So that's sort of my prediction. I definitely think the Bears are the better team on paper and on the field. We're in better form. So I'm definitely looking for the Bears win, man, on Sunday. What are you thinking?
Yeah, same. I was actually having a little think about it after, I never go for scores, but you actually come pretty close to mine. I was thinking, as you were sort of talking there, I was sort of 27-13 Bears.
Uh-huh.
So I think we're going to win by two scores at least.
Yeah.
We're going to get our defense is still going to keep rolling. Let's say, I think they've got some decent players. I noted about Xavier Leggett actually, because that was a player that we were looking for potentially getting in the draft, weren't we? So he had 66 yards, 6 catches last week, and a touchdown, I think. And Johnson, their other wide receiver, he had a good day. Again, they're operating better because they've got Dalton in there, and he's running the show a bit better as a more experienced pro than Bryce Young. So I'm not saying it's a gimme because, like I say, any given Sunday there's 32 teams, and they've all got decent chance at any given day. But you've got to still be on your game, haven't you? Because they're still professionals you're playing. So I just think that Paul Foster says 31-19 Bears. Okay, so I was thinking about that. Shorty saying I'm not picking scores with the Bears scoring more than 21 points now. They aren't a powerhouse offense yet, and that's what in my head I stopped at the 30. I was thinking 30 points, and I just thought, can I see 30 points yet? Potentially, it could happen. It could happen, but what are we talking? Sort of four touchdowns and a field goal might happen. You never know. Yeah, absolutely. If we can get the ground game going again, sort of more balanced offense, start spreading the defense apart a bit more, and Caleb can keep progressing the way he is. He starts, sky's the limit. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
I am. I mean, the good thing as well is that really the win-loss record is more or less what everybody predicted anyway. Because nobody really thought we were going to beat the Texans. Obviously we were all disappointed about the Colts game, and obviously, so we're 2-2. If we can, we could be 3-2 by the end of this week. Who have we got after the Panthers? Is it the Washington Commanders?
No, that's the Jags in London, mate.
Oh, it's all right. It's a Jag game. Yeah, so is that the 16th, 16th,
13th.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that right?
So is that the game? Obviously, you're going to the game with your dad.
I am going to the game. Yeah, absolutely. Me and the old man.
Is that going to be your first live NFL game then?
Yep, it is. Yeah, first time
cool,
seeing the Bears. So excited! I know. Yeah, it's brilliant. Can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Cool, yeah, I think as well that I would actually prefer to see a game at Tottenham's Ground, Wembley. When I've been to see games at Wembley, I just find it a bit cavernous, a bit stale because it's such a large stadium. So I think really the atmosphere is probably going to be a lot better at Tottenham's Ground, just due to how it's been built, and it's you're going to be you'll feel slightly close to the field. That rather you do Wembley, I've always found you feel like you're miles away from the playing field to me. But the Jags aren't doing anything special this week. So what if we could end up 5-2 by the end of this month? Couldn't be easily.
So 2-2 at the minute, aren't we? So we got the Panthers next week and then the Jags. Yeah. So 4-2 going into then it's a bye, isn't it? I think after that. Yeah. So 4-2 going into that.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. Yeah, be really happy with that. Yeah, the Jags are the only team without a win so far this season, aren't they? They're 0-4. So
I bet you said 4 the Jags.
Yeah, not won a game yet all season. The only winless team in the NFL. Yeah,
I didn't know that, man. So wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man, we should be. It's a Bears home game as well, isn't it, Tottenham? It's classed as a Bears.
Designated as our home game, yeah, but obviously it's in London. So.
Yeah, and also as well, you're always going to get a lot more Bears fans than Jag fans anyway, just due to the Bears, people like our age who first got into the NFL, you still got people who were Bears fans from the 80s. So, I think you would have got a big Bears crowd anyway compared to Jag fans, but yeah, you're going to love it, mate. Yeah, you got to take a little bit of footage, man, when you're there. And
definitely, yeah.
Just some footage, just your experience, man. And I mean, the weirdest thing is because you just see people from everybody's got their own team jerseys on, so that's quite weird. I mean, imagine the only time that happens in NFL is at the Super Bowl or something, one of them sort of games. Because obviously when you go to Chicago in December, it's 99% Bear fans. So that makes it a bit different because obviously, people over here just want to see an NFL game, so you just get people wanting to go regardless if the sport two teams what are playing. But yeah, you and your dad, mate, are going to have a really good day out, and especially like where you said you were going to be sitting. That the viewpoint's going to be awesome, mate. So yeah, I mean, the thing I was worried about is that we were going to start dropping games from behind Detroit and Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota, what the fuck? Where they come from?
Yeah, they've got some good coaches there, haven't they? That's the thing.
Defensive coach.
Yeah.
Darnold is sort of stepped up as a replacement. Shorty's asking if your dad's a Bears.
Actually, no, Shorty. He followed the NFL in the 70s and 80s, and he likes the Raiders. Though he doesn't really follow it really closely, but he really wanted to come to the game with me, so he'll just be there as my flipping minder, I think, just to stop me getting in trouble from shouting and screaming. So bless him, yeah. But no, he's looking forward to it. He's actually a Tottenham season ticket holder for the soccer, so. We're going to be in the same stand that he goes to the games at, but we're going to be right at the front. Yeah, like you said, he likes the Raiders, but he still loves the game and he'll enjoy himself.
You'll be honest, mate. That'll be a great time with you and your dad. That'll be a fantastic day out. Is there any sort of questions about go up in the chat? Anything of interest?
I think how about your lady? How about your lady friend? Does she like the Bears by proxy? She absolutely does. Shorty, it's a bit like yours. The thing is, like this last couple of weeks we've been away, haven't I? So I was watching it on my phone on the Game Pass on my phone. So we were huddled around in the camper van watching it, and even she was commenting about, Caleb's always getting pressure. He's always, they're always getting at him. So she was giving her a knowledgeable critique on the offensive line. So she's kind of bless her. The poor girl has to put up with a lot, but she's kind of. Having to go along with it, really, and I think she quite likes it. It's quite exciting. She said she really enjoyed the game on Sunday.
Really?
So she's gonna excited to come and see the Bears at Soldier Field too. I mean, it's going to be freezing, obviously, but we're going to do 2 games in December. It's spent her birthday in Chicago, so that's commitment. That's love. That is. She's happy to spend her birthday away from her family with me and Shorty, and you're going to be there. So yeah. But yeah, she's there. She's got no choice, really, I suppose. But
it's great though when you can
cheers, mate.
but it's great though when you can share stuff like that. I mean, like when I first got into football, when I was like in the 80s when I was a kid, I got my mum just sort of got into it that way because she started watching it because I was watching we used to have that highlight show on Channel 4 on the Sunday evening. So she got really, really into it, and then we followed the local team, the Leeds Cougars, who I ended up playing for. That'd be cool, man. I'm so glad because she'll absolutely love it at Soldier Field, man. Absolutely love it. Because it's just the thing that got me about going to Soldier Field is seeing Walter Payton's statue and George Ellis's statue. And then the thing that got me was I actually filmed it. Just walking into the stadium and then walking in stadium and seeing the field for the first time. And that's what got me. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, I'm actually at Soldiers Field, man. It's took me since 1985 to get here. But, and then you walk around and the atmosphere is great and everybody's really friendly. It's completely different from going to a soccer game. It really is. It's so much more. Everybody's just a bit more chilled out and a bit more civilized. Do you know what I mean? What it's like in English football with fans and all that crap. I mean, that's why I've never really been into like soccer because it was more the culture I never liked. I never liked that sort of laddish, hooligan culture. So it's going to be absolutely awesome, mate. Absolutely awesome. But yeah, I'm just trying to think if we got anything left out. I can't think. Is there anything you got? You bring up?
3 points in there, 7 straight home wins. Yeah, done that one. And then the other thing was that the Carolina Panthers actually they gave Julius Peppers his place on the Ring of Honor because he obviously got into the Hall of Fame this year, and he's the first player that they've drafted that's got into the Hall of Fame. The Panthers.
Wow.
Because there's a newer franchise, I guess. But yeah, that's there you go. That was of interest. But I think that is kind of it for me, mate. Cool. And drink some more Ribena and get my head down. I'm trying to get rid of my headache.
Cool then. Well, what we'll do is then we'll leave it for this week. We both predicted Bears win on Sunday. We're both quite confident about that. Like I say, I'm just happy that, I always look at the game from the offensive side just due to being a running back, and I'm just so glad that they finally got the running game going. And I'm so glad that, Swift has shown why we spent all that money on him as well. Because he won't decide to get a little bit of grief from the fans. But yeah, it just seems to be going the right way, man. That's all I can say. So until next week, we'll leave it with a big fat bear down. I just hope everybody has a good, safe week, man. And then, we'll see you again next Tuesday evening, or tea time dinner time as it is in America. Tea time is like a northern thing, isn't it? So
yeah, it's dinner down here in the south. It's tea's in the afternoon.
Yeah, tea time up north, and then dinner's lunchtime up north as well.
That's lunch. Lunch is midday, and that's Anyway, get out of here with that nonsense.
Cool. So after 3, we'll give it a good bear down, and then we'll all see you next week. 1, 2, 3, bear down.
Bear down.